Banksy is perhaps the most mysterious and subversive artist alive. He started making graffiti as a teenager near Bristol, UK in the 90s. Much of his graffiti is still visible from this era, and the town has taken measures to keep it intact. From there, he began a meteoric rise to the poster child for the budding international street art movement. After several hugely controversial works, a much-lauded documentary, and an increasingly devout cult following, Banksy has become a household name. This means that his works are traded for huge sums of money, even though this is in direct contradiction with his own ethos. For background, Banksy is a fully anonymous artist who displays his art on publicly visible surfaces such as walls and self-built physical prop pieces. He has painted graffiti on the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and other public spaces, leading to both outrage and admiration. Over the years, his graffiti has captured the public imagination, and he remains a counterculture idol in many social circles. Banksy does not sell photographs or reproductions of his street graffiti, but art auctioneers have been known to attempt to sell his street art on location and leave the problem of its removal to the hands of the winning bidder. But all this fuels the omnipresent question: who exactly is Banksy? Over the years, several different people have attempted to unmask Banksy, an obsession that seems to have gripped the world. There are many theories spanning from the lead singer of Massive Attack to visual artist Thierry Guetta. Some believe that he is an artist named Robin Banks. In January 2015, a British teenager claimed that a man introducing himself as Robin Banks gave him a print signed by Banksy on a train in Oxenholme, England, after the young man helped the artist pick up paints that fell out of his carry-on bag. Banksy reportedly told the boy that the picture was worth £20,000 or $24,000. YouTube user Mia S. claimed she caught Banksy in the act after filming a man purported to be the elusive street artist in Melbourne, Australia. The video shows a bespectacled man in jeans, a dark jacket, hooded sweatshirt, and a watch cap. She confronts the graffiti artist in the video before he tells her to fuck off and flees the scene. But of course, this sighting was impossible to confirm, and obviously, a sighting is not the same thing as an identification. In the HBO documentary Banksy Does New York, the Canadian media artist Chris Healy claimed that Banksy is in fact a team of 7 artists, led by a woman. He maintains that the leader is a blonde woman who appears in scenes depicting Banksy's alleged studio in the documentary Exit Through the Gift Shop in 2010. The theory remains plausible, only insofar as it hasn't been disproved. But the most likely answer is that Banksy is a Bristol-based artist named Robin Gunningham. Criminologists at London's Queen Mary University used a technique called Geographic Profiling to identify the street artist as Bristol resident Robin Gunningham. Geographic Profiling is a sophisticated statistical analysis technique used in criminology to locate repeat offenders. The researchers looked for a correlation between 140 artworks in London and Bristol attributed to Banksy and 10 commonly touted names purported to be the elusive street artist. Robin Gunningham, who was born on 28th of July 1973, is a graffiti artist from Bristol and is out of touch with his family. Banksy lived in a house in Easton, Bristol, around which much of his work can still be seen, for 10 years around the late 1990s. In 1994, Banksy checked into a New York hotel using the name Robin. Banksy moved to London around the year 2000, as did Gunningham. In 2016, lawyers acting for Banksy commented on a scientific study identifying him as Gunningham, but did not suggest that the paper's conclusion were in any way flawed. In June 2017, DJ Goldie referred to Banksy by the name of Rob. Even if this is his true identity, representatives from Banksy's camp have never confirmed or denied the allegations. Beyond this, very little is known about Robin Gunningham, as he has been estranged with most of his family and childhood friends for decades. Audience interest only increased when he compounded his own mystery and released a documentary in 2010. This highly divisive movie entitled Exit Through the Gift Shop claimed to be a documentary about Banksy, but turned out to be a self-referential piece that spoofed the art industry as a whole. Essentially, the film studied the overnight sensation of Thierry Guetta, aka Mr. Brainwash, who had no discernible artistic talent but made multiple multi-million-dollar sales by leveraging the faults in the art industry. Banksy has said in interviews that editing the film together was an arduous process, noting that "I spent a year watching footage of sweaty vandals falling off ladders," and "The film was made by a very small team. it would have been even smaller if the editors didn't keep having mental breakdowns. They went through over 10,000 hours of Thierry Guetta's tapes and got literally seconds of usable footage out of it. Producer Jaime de Cruz wrote in his production diary that obtaining the original tapes from Thierry was particularly complicated. The world premiere of the film Exit Through the Gift Shop occurred at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah on the 24th of January. He created 10 street artworks around Park City and Salt Lake City to tie in with the screening. In February, the White House Public House in Liverpool, England was sold for £114,000 at an auction. The side of the building has an image of a giant rat by Banksy. In late January 2011, Exit Through the Gift Shop was nominated for a 2010 Oscar for Best Documentary Feature. Banksy released a statement about the nomination, stating, "This is a big surprise. I don't agree with the concept of award ceremonies, but I'm prepared to make an exception for the ones I'm nominated for. The last time there was a naked man covered in gold paint in my house, it was me." Leading up to the Oscars, Banksy blanketed Los Angeles with street art. Many people speculated if Banksy would show up at the Oscars in disguise and make a surprise appearance if he won the Oscar. In the end, Exit Through the Gift Shop lost to Inside Job, and no one ever discovered Banksy's identity. However, he is well known among other counterculture celebrities, all of whom seem to be good at keeping a secret. In 2015, Banksy launched his largest exhibition yet, with the help of many famed artists, for a bemusement park called Dismaland. Dismaland was a temporary art project constructed in the seaside resort town of Weston-super-Mare in Somerset, England. Prepared in secret, the pop-up expedition at the Tropicana, a disused swimming pool, was a sinister twist on Disneyland that opened during the weekend of the 21st of August 2015 and closed permanently on the 27th of September 2015, 36 days later. Banksy described it as a family theme park unsuitable for children. Banksy created 10 new works and funded the construction of the exhibition himself. The show featured 58 artists of the 60 Banksy originally invited to participate. 4,000 tickets were available for purchase per day, priced at $3 each. High demand for the tickets to the exhibition caused the Dismaland website to crash repeatedly. Some wondered whether or not this was deliberately contrived by Banksy as part of the irony of the Dismaland experience. The exhibition featured some of the biggest names in counterculture art, including Bill Marminski, Julie Burchill, Jimmy Cauty, Darren Cullen, Elle Teenan, Damien Hirst, and Jenny Holzer. Many celebrities were attracted to the venue, some international, such as Brad Pitt, Jack Black, Neil Patrick Harris, Nicholas Hoult, Wayne Cohn, Russell Brand, Ant and Dec, Mark Ronson, Darren Criss, Daddy G, CGP Grey, and Brady Haran. Additionally, the exhibition proved to be popular with visitors, with many prepared to queue for hours each day for one of the 500 daily walk-in tickets. It brought in 150,000 visitors from around the world, boosting the local economy of Weston-super-Mare by $20 million. After this, Banksy was mostly silent for a few years. Though his paintings and wheat pastes continued to go up all over the world, they didn't receive the same headlines that they had in the past. The art public began to assume that Banksy was still operating in the same way, thus his artwork was no longer provocative in the same way. And it was no secret that Banksy was not a fan of the massive commercialization of his paintings. Of course, he benefited from certain sales, but so much of his art is sold secondhand or on the black market. To give an example, the most expensive Banksy piece ever sold is a canvas entitled "Keep It Spotless." Auctioned on February 14, 2008 during the Sotheby's charity auction in New York. The amount of money paid for this piece of urban art caught everyone by surprise, making it the most expensive Banksy ever, sold at $1.7 million. Executed in spray paint and household gloss on canvas, Banksy's Keep It Spotless, created in 2007, was originally Damon Hirst's painting, which was defaced by Banksy. It depicts a spray-painted Los Angeles hotel maid, Leanne, who is pulling up Hirst's piece to sweep under the painting. Most artists would be thrilled to sell a piece for this much, but for Banksy, it was just another problem with the bloated art industry. This all that came to a head recently when Banksy created one of his own paintings to self-destruct in the event of an auction. On Friday, October 5, 2019, Sotheby's auction house sold a painting by Banksy for $1.4 million. The piece was a copy of one of the artist's most famous works, an image of a girl releasing a red balloon, and moments after it was sold, the painting self-destructed, shredding itself while onlookers watched. In a video, Banksy explained that he had secretly installed a shredder in the frame of the painting titled "Girl with Balloon" to destroy it if it ever went up for auction. The anonymous artist is known for creating satirical and subversive political art, and by shredding the painting, he essentially turned the auction itself into a work of art. Quoting artist Picasso in an Instagram post, "The urge to destroy is also a creative urge." Sotheby's described the painting as framed work, spray paint on acrylic on canvas, and notes that it's the first time in auction history that a work of art automatically shredded itself. It's certainly a long simmering plot, and it seems unlikely that the shredder and its power source would have remained a secret for so long. The painting itself was a 2006 reproduction of the iconic image, which features a girl releasing a red balloon. The original image was spray painted on a building in East London in 2002, although it was covered up for many years before it was removed in 2014 and sold at an auction the following year. Other copies of the painting have been auctioned over the years. This launched Banksy back into the spotlight and actually serves to make his paintings even more valuable. The identities of the buyer and underbidder, both of whom were bidding anonymously by telephone, remain undisclosed. Sotheby's said in an emailed statement on Sunday that the successful buyer was a private client who was as surprised as we were, and with whom we're still in discussions. The auction house added, "We had no prior knowledge of this event, and were not in any way involved. The ever-elusive, ever-intentive Banksy has once again made a fool of the art world and captivated millions. But has the joke itself slightly self-destructed? Banksy's remotely shredded girl with balloon was meant to poke fun at the excesses of the auction market. Yet, thanks to the huge amount of publicity generated by this ingenious prank, his prices look set to soar even higher." "It was a brilliant PR stunt," said Offer Waterman, a dealer in 20th century British art, who attended Sotheby's Friday night contemporary art auction but left before the sale of the Banksy. "It's going to elevate his prices." Mr. Waterman is among those who think the Banksy sold at Sotheby's has increased in value post-shredding. "It's become worth more as a conceptual moment than as a work of art itself," said Mr. Waterman, who believes that Sotheby's had no knowledge of the stunt. They didn't know. There was no reason for them to know. And Banksy's works have already been augmenting in value over the years. That 40-inch high example of Girl with Balloon, acquired directly from the artist by the present owner in 2006, according to Sotheby's catalog, set a new auction high for a work solely created by Banksy. One of the smaller 20-inch high edition paintings of Girl with Balloon sold in March for £344,000, or about $500,000, at Bonhams in London, according to the ArtNet price database. Mr. Andipa said that back in 2006, he was selling these smaller edition paintings for £30,000, or about $55,000 at the time. There was also something strange about the video Banksy posted on Saturday on his Instagram page. Drawing 6.3 million views by Sunday morning, the video purported to show the artist secretly building a shredder into the painting a few years ago. If that were the case, wouldn't the battery in the shredder have to have been replaced at some point? This, in turn, poses the question, was Banksy himself the owner who entered this stenciled painting, which may or may not have been made and framed years ago, into the sale? Sotheby's, like all international auction houses, does not reveal the identity of its sellers, unless specifically requested. And what about the identity of the man in the sales room who remotely activated the shredding device? Could he have been the elusive graffiti gorilla himself? This just proves that Banksy is still sharp and incisive, with a knack for offending the exact people who then buy his artwork for millions. We haven't heard the last of Banksy, and we're excited to see what tricks he has up his sleeve next. Leave a comment down below on who you think Banksy really is. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. And as always, thanks for watching this top trending video. We'll see you next time.